Welcome to OreoOlive.com. As you know, Oreo olives don't mix, but the abstract thought of putting those two words together has led me to create a channel to discuss various topics. And I wanted to jump on today's episode to talk about an experience that I saw this past weekend when I was visiting Atlanta at this hotel. I have seen this a lot. I have experienced this throughout life. It's not nothing new, but I wanted to specifically call this out because it was so simple to me of what my request was that I felt that it was no need for the person to act like this. But there was this woman who was a waiter at this hotel, and in the breakfast area they always have people down there to help you out if you need any help. They may refill the breakfast table, they'll get the guest whatever that they request in the breakfast area and just basically help them out, right? That's what people are supposed to do. Well, when I was thinking about this, I was like, man, this lady is very prejudiced. And when I was thinking about it, we oftentimes would see this depending on the circumstance of where we are, whether we're asking for something or if we're not asking for anything at all, could be preferential treatment, right? So when I was thinking about it, I said, okay, this lady doesn't know me, I don't know her, but it was more like a preconceived option that wasn't biased or reason or actual experience. But they was pretty much prejudice is against people from different backgrounds. So the woman who was doing this, who was the waiter, she appeared to be Somalian, and the table of people, at least there was like maybe 8 people at the table. I know for sure that one person was Caucasian American or white. I do know that the other people at the table may have been the same race as well. They never really said anything. They just kind of sat and listened to this other man talk. So I do know at least one person was that. So I'm just going to assume that the whole table was. And they looked at me, and they all looked at been retired. They were sitting there just having a peaceful conversation and just talking about life and their career. Like they was all just sitting there, just having their own conversation. So nobody was bothering them. They wasn't bothering anybody. They was just lingering around after they got done eating. They was drinking their coffee, just having a conversation. No problem. So when I was downstairs, there was another younger couple that was behind me. The guy or the man looked to have been African. I couldn't tell exactly what country he was from. And then his girlfriend was black. She was a lot lighter skin. And then what happened was I just simply asked the lady for some plastic forks and knives because I came downstairs to heat up breakfast. So once I asked that, she just kind of felt like I was just asking for the world, and she kind of hurried up, got it, snatched it, and kind of put it in my hand and didn't say anything. And I immediately responded, "Thank you." But then the table of people that was having a conversation, they got up, they walked over, they asked her for butter, jelly, juice, everything else, and she politely, said, "Oh, thank you all," or "No problem, give me a moment, I'll be right back." And she has to get up and go to the back through a bashed door to get whatever they was requesting and then bring it back. And when they was asked her again, she said, "No problem." Now, I just basically asked for a plate so I can heat up some of the food I had the night before. And everything that I asked, it seemed to be an issue, so I just kind of left her alone. Didn't say much to her. The other couple, she kind of rushed them to sit down, didn't really help them, she just kind of just brushed them off. Because I thought it was just me. So I was like, man, like what is going on? And then it made me think about in the service industry, when you're serving other people, you work in a restaurant, you a waiter or waitress, and you're serving other people. I don't care what your issues are personally, but if you're gonna be in that type of industry where you're serving people, you have no choice but to be nice to everyone and treat everybody the same across the board. That's just it. And I want to make this video because even though it was very, very small, I wanted to make sure that people are not only aware that things like this happen, but the way that I handled the situation is I just let her stay in her miserable way. And I left it at that. But the night before, which was very interesting, very cool, we went to this Italian restaurant to go, eat. And we had dinner, and the waiter appeared to be white, Caucasian male, and he just had a cool conversation with us. We were talking back and forth, and oftentimes when we're out eating, we always, at least leave some form of a tip. But if the service is terrible, we're not leaving a tip. But we ended up leaving the man a $30 tip. And a $30 tip for our meal was phenomenal because the man was basically like, thank you all so much. And the thing about it is he, even though they didn't have as many customers throughout the day, we took that opportunity to give him a really good tip because, for one, he came over and had a great conversation. He didn't ask for anything in return. He constantly made sure we were okay, and he stopped to have small talk, talked about his daughter, talked about his mom, his family, just very friendly. So that made us want to come back. And that was just so interesting of just, waiter and waitresses, if you're listening to this and you're out there, no matter what a person comes from, where they come from, who they are, you never know who you're dealing with, because you could just as well be killing your tip. And I would not have tipped the lady anyway for asking for, plastic, not forks and knives, because that just doesn't make sense. But who's to say that if we would have ate breakfast downstairs, that if she was okay, we would have left a tip. So I just want to make that video basically on the surface level of don't always treat people with respect, and don't just treat them bad based on how they look, because that's not nice. And so I want you all to like this and subscribe, OreoOlive.com. As you know, I'm always trying to bring different topics, so some of these topics some people may not like, which that is perfectly fine with me, but I wanted to not only just talk about that, but overall ATL was great. Enjoyed people, enjoyed the city, love to see people are doing pretty well. Like, listen, subscribe, OreoOlive.com. Talk to you soon.